Hi, I'm Sid Dobrin. In this video, I'll be talking about the Mapping Your Situation feature. When I teach the Mapping Your Situation feature in the book, I walk students through the process it illustrates. I ask students to begin mapping their situation by asking a series of questions about their purposes in writing to inform. What am I informing about? Why am I informing? What details do I have to convey through my information? What information is crucial and what information is secondary or maybe even irrelevant? Does my writing to inform serve a larger purpose, like perhaps as evidence in an argument or in an evaluation? Once students have a sense of their purposes in writing to inform, I encourage them to begin asking about who will be reading the information they write about, urging them to ask questions to determine what they know about their audiences. This is an important part of writing to inform, since the audience should drive what information is conveyed and how that information is conveyed. At the same time, students should consider in what medium and by what method they will inform their audiences. The questions they ask about medium and method should be asked in conjunction with their questions about audience, since these answers work together synthetically to give writers a detailed picture of who they write for. Likewise, I always want to show students that when thinking about and asking about audience, medium, and method, they should also start to question the context of their informative writing. Where will it occur? Where will it appear? What limits what they can informatively convey? Each of these kinds of questions should be asked in conjunction with the previously asked questions about audience, medium, and method, as the answer to any one of these questions might change how another gets asked, and more importantly, how the writer might choose to convey the information. When talking with students about writing to inform, I encourage students not to overlook the importance of the method part of their map, because these methods writers choose affect the fulfillment of purpose, and the method can also affect the success of other rhetorical purposes their information may serve. For example, writing to inform in an aggressive or argumentative way may affect a writer's ethos and undermine the writer's purpose in informing in the first place. I also ask students to start thinking about who else is already participating in the situation and what the various relations are in the situation. This kind of questioning can help students understand how the information they convey will connect with the information and claims already circulated in the situation. One thing I try to emphasize with students is the way that relations can constrain or free them as writers to use specific methods when writing to inform. Different public situations, for example, might constrain from the outset what might and might not be considered legitimate or valuable information. Some information while devaluing other information because of the relationships the information establishes within the situation. This can be particularly important if the information is new to a situation, thus possibly changing the situation, or if the information is already familiar to the situation, thus confirming what is already known in the situation. I also want students to consider how their writing to inform will circulate and participate with other voices and information, both already present in the situation or that might arrive in the situation after they have contributed their information. I also encourage students to see the Mapping Your Situation approach not as a linear or terminal activity. I want them to work through the process several times as they write to inform in order to account for changes in the situation that might affect their information and their writing to convey that information. So those are a few thoughts about walking students through the Mapping Your Situation feature when they're writing to inform. Thanks for using Writing Situations, and thanks for watching.